An old familiar face has returned to Bangladesh's political playground. Tarique Rahman, the acting chairperson of Bangladesh Nationalist Party or the BNP and son of former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia, has ended his 17-year-long exile. Rahman returned to a large crowd of supporters and party workers waving flags and holding placards. Now, shortly after stepping onto his country's soil, the Prime Ministerial hopeful addressed a rally, his first speech in 17 years in Bangladesh, where Tarique Rahman said that he had a plan for Bangladesh.
I have a dream.
This is our time to build our country. We'll build a Bangladesh that a mother dreams of, where everyone is safe. We are seeking peace, not violence. I have a plan. I have a plan for the people of my country.
I have a plan.
Now, Rahman's return has triggered a wave of joy and hope for the BNP, a party which stood as the main opposition to Sheikh Hasina's 15-year reign before she fled Bangladesh in August last year. The shift in energy was palpable among many supporters. Take a listen.
It's hard to put into words how we feel. Today is a moment of immense joy for us. It feels like we are celebrating an Eid. We pray that the Almighty grants him a long life, and we hope he can build a new Bangladesh just as he has dreamed.
It's impossible to put into words the feeling of seeing him in person after a long 17 years. We are overwhelmed with emotion. Our activists are also deeply moved. You can see everyone has come out to the field with placards, banners and caps.
Known in Bangladesh as Tariq Zia, he carries a political name that has defined his life. He was born in 1967. Tarique Rahman's father, Zia Rahman, was an army commander. He was assassinated when his son was just 15 years old. The younger Rahman grew up in his mother's political orbit, as Zia went on to become the country's first female prime minister, alternating her terms in power with Sheikh Hasina. Tarique Rahman was arrested on corruption charges in 2007 and claimed that he was tortured in custody. Freed later that year, he flew to London in 2008 for medical treatment and has returned only now. Tarique Rahman's return comes, remember, at a critical juncture in Bangladeshi politics, which has been marked with unrest and killings in the past few days. The country will conduct its first election since the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The BNP is hopeful of a comeback in February next year. So we'll have to wait and watch how this entire dynamics moves forward. All right, let's get a perspective on what the return of Tarique Rahman means, not just for Bangladesh, but for the India-Bangladesh relationship as well. I'm joined by Mr. Shabir Mustafa. He's a former head of the BBC Bangla service, also former managing editor of Voice of America Bangla. Thank you very much for speaking with us on WION, Mr. Mustafa. I'd like to first ask you a question that is on the top of everybody's mind. Do you see Tarique Rahman as the future Prime Minister of Bangladesh, or do you see him as a disconnected heir who will not be able to relate to, or at least will have a tough time relating to, the Bangladesh of 2025?
I think Tarique Rahman has no choice but to become the Prime Minister, the next Prime Minister of the country. It's not just his party that demands that he take up the mantle of Khaleda Zia and move forward. But since what's happened in the last year and a half, where we have seen a lot of extremist groups have emerged from the shadows and dominating the streets and dominating the political scene, a lot of people, in the absence of the Awami League, they're looking at BNP and particularly the leadership of Tarique Rahman to balance that threat from the Islamist right. So I think Tarique Rahman is being looked at by many different people within and outside BNP as someone who has to become Prime Minister, who has to lead the party in the next election and has to really get to grips with the country.
But Mr. Mustafa, you know, of course, he inherits a plethora of challenges, but the first and foremost political challenge is coming in from Jamaat and the NCP or the Inqilab Manch, who are not very secular by nature. One claims that they are secular, but they've, of course, not minced words as far as their take on secularism is concerned. But nevertheless, he faces that political challenge from them. And therefore, how do you think BNP will be able to navigate its way through to victory with this?
Well, the Jamaat-e-Islami is actually building an alliance with other smaller Islamist parties.
Yeah.
And rumor has it that the NCP may also be joining Jamaat in that alliance because the NCP is in a very difficult situation and they know they can't win any seat on their own. So they're looking for a major party to piggyback on. So Jamaat is going to present a major challenge for Tarique Rahman. But see, today's event in Dhaka, the way BNP organized this massive show of strength or popular support, this was a message to Jamaat that we have the support, we have the strength to take them on in the election. Now, all the opinion polls that we have seen in Bangladesh in recent weeks and months show that the BNP has a fairly healthy lead over Jamaat. And the feeling in Bangladesh has always been that Jamaat can never win enough seats to take power. But BNP can. BNP can even grab 2/3 of the seats. They have that kind of presence in all the 300 constituencies. So I think that Tarique Rahman has the organization, the party strength, and the popular support, and the momentum. Now that he's returned to the country, he now generates a momentum of his own. And this will be enough to take him over the threshold in the election. But just another point, Jamaat is planning to hold its own show of strength on January the 3rd because they know this return of Tarique Rahman was a challenge to them as well as everyone else. So they want to counter that challenge. But I think Tarique Rahman and the BNP have enough in their gasoline tank to see off Jamaat in the next election.
And do you therefore think, Mr. Mustafa, BNP's victory and the expected victory, and like you're saying, that there is no choice but for them to win the upcoming elections, will make citizens of Bangladesh forget the kind of checkered past that it has been accused of? Earlier, they were allying with Jamaat. Now, of course, they're fighting against the Jamaat in this election. But the BNP itself, when it was in governance in the early 2000s, was accused of corruption and mismanagement.
Absolutely. I think this is one of the gray areas of what Tarique Rahman has to face in the next couple of months. First, that his past record, particularly during 2001 and 2006, when the country was absolutely devastated by corruption on the one hand, and also sectarian and terror violence on the other. You may remember in 2004, Sheikh Hasina herself was the target of an assassination attempt in which 24 people died. So these questions are going to come back to haunt Tarique Rahman in the weeks ahead. And his alliance with Jamaat, well, this is already a subject that has been discussed, but not enough. And I think that when the election campaign starts, BNP leaders will have to face these questions and answer these questions. But at the end of the day, when people are going to vote, I don't know how many people will turn up to vote, but the election people are hoping that the turnout would be in excess of 60%, but we'll have to wait and see. But those who turn up to vote, they will have to decide what kind of a Bangladesh they want. And those who want an Islamic Republic will vote for Jamaat alliance without any question. But the majority have never in Bangladesh have voted for Jamaat or any extremist religious party. So I think the majority will still vote for BNP despite misgivings about Tarique Rahman's past. They'll give him a second chance.
Okay.
If I can say that.
Mr. Mustafa, interestingly, it's not just the Bangladeshis who have to think about what kind of Bangladesh they want. Here in India, the next logical question that people are asking is, when the next government comes in, what sort of a relationship will it share with India? Because currently we are seeing a strained relationship. How will the BNP navigate their way through the pressure from Jamaat coming in against India and the kind of minority killings that we are seeing in the country?
Well, this is going to be a tough challenge for BNP because when Tarique Rahman becomes Prime Minister, because I'm sure he will, repairing relationship with India should be one of his priorities because you can't have a relationship with your biggest neighbor, practically your only neighbor, because Burma is only, we share only a small border with Myanmar. So practically the only neighbor and such a big neighbor with so much at stake in relationship with that neighbor that you cannot just let things drift the way Muhammad Yunus has allowed things to drift until it's become almost a broken relationship. But as you say, as you mentioned, Jamaat and other Islamist forces, yes, every step he takes to improve relationship with India will be challenged by them in some way or other, maybe in the street, maybe in parliament, maybe through a different kind of pressure groups. But he will face challenge. So he will need all his guile, and he will need very good advisors around him to guide him through this. And he'll also need the help of India. India will also have to help him by not giving the impression that they are kind of browbeating him into coming back to a good relationship. So India will have a lot of, a big role to play in bringing Bangladesh back into a proper friendly relationship. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very tough indeed.
Well, yes, India has always been a good, helpful friend to Bangladesh. And I see a Christmas tree behind you, Mr. Mustafa. I hope Bangladesh sees the kind of prosperity that Christmas brings with it. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Let's wait and watch how this moves forward. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.